Hugh Hefner, Playboy's founder, lived a wild life. A life that so many of us would only dream of. I mean, if you take a look at all the adventures he's been on, it's safe to say he fulfilled probably 95% of most people's fantasies. He built a multi-billion-dollar brand that centers around women. He served in World War II. He became an editor for a magazine. Wasn't this guy living the life? I'm pretty sure he died with a smile on his face, seeing as he fulfilled nearly everything he desired. An entertainment magnate, he kickstarted the careers of models and threw lavish parties. With that being said, let's take a look at 10 amazing things about Hugh Hefner that you will not want to forget. Number 10, he paid $100 a year to live in the Playboy mansion. Hefner lived in his famous Playboy mansion under strange arrangements. He never outright owned it. It technically belonged to Playboy Enterprises, which leased it to him for $100 a year. In 2016, the estate's next-door neighbor bought it for $100 million, but Hefner didn't want to move, so he paid $1 million a year in rent to stay there, for what turned out to be just 1 year. When I got the Playboy mansion, I didn't leave the property for months, to shop or to go anywhere. With all those beautiful women in his mansion, as well as the possibility of room service, I can only imagine why Hefner would never want to leave. Number 9, he gave Hunter Thompson's wife $25,000 after he died. Following Hunter Thompson's suicide, his will designated a trustee to look over his joint bank account with his wife. Frozen out and cashless, Anita Thompson, his widow, was stuck in a massive rut, especially for someone that was so used to a glamorous lifestyle. Hefner came through. He sent a gift of $25,000 to her, she wrote on Facebook, to help her get through the chaos. Playboy frequently published Hunter S. Thompson's journalism, so Hefner was familiar with the family. At the time, it felt like $1 million, and I'll always be grateful for that random act of kindness, Anita Thompson wrote on Facebook. Rest in peace, Hugh. Thank you again for your generosity and kindness. Number 8, he waited for marriage before warming the sheets. Yeah, the guy who created a multi-billion-dollar, lady-centric company, the man who had bunnies in his mansion 24/7. That guy had to wait until marriage with his first wife so that he could bed her. After they had warmed the sheets when he was 22, his first wife, Mildred Williams, revealed that she had cheated on him before their wedding while he served in the army. That was the most devastating moment in my life, Hefner said. The two stayed together for 10 years and had 2 children. But before he died, Hefner said he slept with more than 1,000 women. Moral of the story? Don't cheat on others. Number 7, he loved wearing smoking jackets. Hefner's iconic smoking jacket look started in the late 1960s. At that point, Playboy was a roaring success, and Hefner moved his office into his bedroom to make things easier. Then, he realized he could wear them all day. I started wearing them all the time because I was working at night, and then I started wearing them when I entertained, Hefner wrote on the Daily Mail. I realized I could get away with it. Then, of course, people were disappointed if they didn't find me in pajamas. He reportedly owned more than 200 custom-made smoking jackets and pajamas. He didn't wear anything underneath, according to the New York Times. Number 6, he used to work for a children's magazine. Before founding Playboy, Hefner worked in the publishing industry in different jobs, including some stabs at cartooning and as a copywriter for Esquire. One of his positions was being the circulation director of a Chicago-based children's magazine. Now, that's an about-face if you ask me, from a children's magazine director to owning an adult magazine. Hugh Hefner was truly a man of ample talents. Number 5, he has the world record for scrapbooks. In 2011, he was inscribed in the record books as having the largest personal scrapbooking collection in the world. He collected photos from his time working on the Playboy magazine and with his friends at the mansion. It was probably just a way of creating a world of my own to share with my friends, he said. And in retrospect, in thinking about it, it's not a whole lot different than creating the magazine. Hugh Hefner had been scrapbooking every Saturday since high school. He had 2,685 books completely archiving his life. He says scrapbooking helped him reinvent his life to be more interesting. Hugh Hefner also holds the Guinness World Record for the longest-serving editor-in-chief of a magazine for 60 years. Number 4, the Playboy Club idea wasn't his. I bet if you were a young straight boy growing up in the 80s or the 90s, you must have peeked at a Playboy magazine once or twice. But the question is, why bunnies? Well, Hefner's favorite hangout when he was a college student was Bunny's Tavern, a bar and restaurant where the waitresses dressed up as bunnies. Later, he also said he liked to pick the animal because bunnies like to do it a lot. In the early days of Playboy, Hefner started Playboy clubs where waitresses dressed up as bunnies and served the customers in homage to Bunny's Tavern. Number 3, he hired cartoonists whose letters became famous for children's books. Hefner eventually took Eisman's advice and hired other people for the job instead. In its early days, cartoons were a major part of the magazine. 2 of the illustrators he hired were Shel Silverstein and Jules Pfeiffer. Silverstein wrote a series of travelogues to places like a nudist colony in New Jersey. Later, after leaving Playboy, he wrote books like The Giving Tree and A Light in the Attic. Jules Pfeiffer is best known now as the illustrator of The Phantom Toll Booth and has an Oscar for his short film Monroe. So, I guess Hefner kickstarted their careers, huh? And now we've come to the best pick of the day. While Hefner's Playboy business did cause a lot of controversy with moral rights groups, it appears that most of the women that lived in his mansion adored him. All in all, Hefner was a pretty decent guy, and that's why he'll be sorely missed by millions around the globe. Number 2, Hefner saved the iconic Hollywood sign twice. The Hollywood sign, which originally spelled out Hollywoodland when it was built in 1923, has long been a symbol of Hollywood dreams. But in the 1970s, it was in rough shape after years of neglect, needing $250,000 to restore it. By that time, Hugh Hefner was already a household name and one of LA's most famous residents. So he threw a lavish fundraiser, auctioning off letters from the old sign for $27,000 each to celebrities like Alice Cooper, raising enough to restore the signs with new letters. It said Hugh donated the Y and Alice Cooper donated the third O. In 2010, developers set their sights on the 138 acres around the sign and wanted to build luxury properties on Mount Lee. They gave the trust an ultimatum of sorts. Pay $12.5 million now and the acres are yours. As the deadline approached, it was able to raise nearly all the cash, but ended up short about $1 million with just over a week to raise the rest. In came Hugh Hefner, who donated the final $900,000 needed. What an awesome man! Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it, it really works. Number 1, Hefner was a champion of black music. First of all, Hefner was a huge jazz buff. On his first reality television show, Playboy's Penthouse in 1959, special guests included Ella Fitzgerald, Sammy Davis Jr., and Nat King Cole. That same year, Playboy launched its own jazz festival which benefited the Chicago Urban League for African Americans. Performers included Miles Davis, who was, in fact, Playboy magazine's Interview in 1962. On Playboy After Dark, another television show similar to his earlier Playboy's Penthouse, you can watch singers James Brown performing his Black Power anthem, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud, as well as Ike and Tina Turner and Marvin Gaye. Before going on stage, Hefner asked James Brown to explain the importance of black capitalism to the audience at home. And that's one of the reasons why Hugh Hefner died a hero. And with that being said, we've come to the end of this video. Do you have any other interesting facts about Hugh Hefner that you feel we might have missed out on? Let us know in the comments section down below. Want more videos that'll exist until the very end of time? Click on any of the amazing videos that you see on the screen. And as always, thanks for watching.